We in the building. DJ Gambini, the Renaissance Man, and this is Sports Talk 101, presented to you by Country Vision Studios. We off in the building today, and it was the best of times, and it was the worst of times. Had a pretty good week with my picks, 13-1, and the one game that I did lose. I'm always reaching, hoping for an upset here and there, but we're gonna talk about that in a few minutes. The Falcons won. I wasn't too impressed because it was the Panthers, but they got the win, and that's what mattered the most. And shouts out to my sister. This was a Christmas present for like about 4 years ago, and I think it's aging pretty well, even though I do a lot of work in it and stuff during the winter and fall months. And I lost in fantasy football this week. I dropped to 4-2, third in the overall rankings of our division. Our league. It was a hard pill to swallow. Cook, the running back for the Bills, late scratch for Monday night. Could have pulled it out, but oh well. So let's dive on into it. First, we're going to talk about the Falcons. Yeah, they got the win. Against the Carolina Panthers. But to make that next step, I think we should have dominated them more than we did. When I look at this game, I'm like, yeah, we beat the Panthers, but they was kind of getting with us at the beginning, right? They was Andy Dalton was moving the ball pretty good. It was a tight game going into halftime, and I thought we brought Judon over to help with the pass rush, but it looked like we can't never get to the quarterback. And we got a big matchup this week coming with the Seattle Seahawks, and you got Geno. Which Geno it gonna be? I don't know. Is it the Geno we know, or is it the Geno that's been playing lights out at the beginning of the season? I don't know, but we gotta find a way to get that pass rush together. Kirk Cousins, he's still doing his things. Had a pretty good game. Bijan Robinson, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Algier, over 100 yards and a touchdown. But like I said, we're not gonna go too far. I gotta be honest. We're not gonna go too far if the defense don't tighten up. I think we're playing pretty good on the backside with the cornerbacks and the safeties, but it's just the D-line, Grady Jarrett and Judon, they not getting to the quarterback like they should. We're going to move on because, like I said, I'm not convinced. We're 4-2 right now. But you got a lot of people celebrating like we 8-2. 2 games and we're right back at 500, right back at mediocrity. So I'll save the cheers, which being a Falcon fan as long as I have, to save the cheers. But anyway, moving on. We only got 1 game wrong this week, so that's going to make this pretty short, right? It was the San Francisco and Seattle game, and we got the rest on them right. Woohoo! We got the rest on right. Geno threw 2 interceptions, right? The Geno we know. The Geno that, throw interceptions. And it was a 2-possession loss, and that's the sum of it pretty much. San Francisco, I should have known that they was going to get back on their winning ways because, they one of the most dominant teams in the NFC, whether you like them or not, right? They pretty good. They pretty good. And even though I have my convictions about Kyle Shanahan and that Super Bowl, and was that 2016? God, that done been a long time ago, man. I remember that night. But anyway, I ain't gonna get talking about that. But you should have known Kyle Shanahan was gonna get on the right track. And since we didn't get too many games wrong, we're gonna talk about a couple of games that didn't go right for the other teams. The Cowboys, 47-9. And I was planning on having one of my partners who's a Cowboy fan come on the show and talk. But when I called him, he didn't answer the phone. And which I don't blame him, because that's embarrassing. 47-9. The Cowboys, dare I say, ain't shit with a capital S. And Diggs back there, interception man, won't tackle nobody. Michael Parsons, he out. They ain't got no running back. And I think that's when you run into the problem when you have like star receivers and stuff. You try to get them the ball too much. You don't have nobody else you really comfortable throwing to. That Prescott, man, that man scored 2 fantasy points, bro. Hey, but shouts out to my partner, man. I don't blame you. I wouldn't have picked up the phone either if the Falcons lose like that. Cause I mean, 47-9, that's real embarrassing. Even though it was a good team, now it was a good team that beat you. And the only thing went wrong for them, they lost their defensive end. I think it's Hutchinson for the rest of the year. He broke his leg on freak play, hit it on the offensive lineman. He must be got a steel rod in his leg, but he had to have emergency surgery and he out. But the Cowboys need to get it together. Maybe Jerry Jones sitting up here talking about firing the radio host. Maybe you need to fire yourself. Maybe you need to fire yourself because teams are not built like that 90s Cowboys team. They're not built like that no more. You can't have a good quarterback, a good running back, and a good wide receiver. If you look around the NFL now, most of the teams that's good have receivers by committee. Yeah, they got the 1 or 2 to 3 or whatever, but it be a lot of people getting a lot of catches in there to make the wheel go round. When I was talking to my partner, he was telling me, talking about, oh, we banged up, we injured. I don't know, man. You didn't look good against the Giants. You was able to get that win, but you didn't look good against them. And that's why I went against you. That's why I went against you, because it's hard to go against Dallas at home, but this season they just can't put it together. All right. Pittsburgh taking on Vegas, right? The reason why I'm talking about this because I should wait until we get to the picks to talk about this, but I'm pretty sure y'all heard that Russell Wilson might be starting this week. And I just don't understand that. I mean, I pretty much think you should stay with the hot hand. Now, we seen this one time before. We done seen this a couple times. And a couple times people lost their jobs. All right, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance broke his ankle. Brock Purdy stepped in. Trey Lance, you shipped out. You looked at it as a bust. And really the man only played 1 or 2 times. Dak Prescott, when he came in, Tony Romo was injured. But the Cowboys went on like an 8-9 game winning streak. Tony Romo gone to retire. But Justin Fields, it looked like they gonna yank him. And I just don't understand why. Why would you take him out right about now? Russell Wilson ain't did nothing in the last couple of years. But like they say, Tomlin know what he doing. You don't get to be a coach that don't have a losing season all these seasons by not knowing what you're doing. He must be see something in practice. I don't know what he see. Maybe he want to drive the ball downfield more than with Justin Fields running. But that's a little tidbit I want everybody to watch. How Russell plays. And a lot of times I don't think it's based on wins and losses. It's based on how you play. And even though Justin Fields is getting a lot of running yards and touchdowns and stuff, I think they talking about his QBR, which I don't care about. That's just some analytics. Some smart nerd guy wanted to get into the sports realm and say, hey, man, if we add all these numbers up, we'll come up with this. That makes no sense at all. But you know how the analysts and the coaches and all them is, they go by them numbers. So they like, the QBR ain't high enough. We're gonna start Russ. But let's keep an eye on that because they ain't wrote it in stone yet that Russ gonna start. And Russ is pretty much a rental because he only signed a 1-year contract. And I think they're gonna have to make some decisions on the 5th-year options for Justin Fields. I think that was a lot of the trade hold up for him this year. Now, we getting ready to move on and make our picks for this week. Man, I am 62-30. And some kind of way I was able to do the math. And that's 67%. I would like to be at like 70, 75, but that one bad week kind of threw me off. And then last week I was like 50%. So anyway, as long as I'm over 50%, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? And we getting into the meat of the schedule, and teams are pretty much who they say they are or what we've seen so far, right? All right, let's get it going. All right, first up, Denver at New Orleans. All right, Denver at New Orleans. We know Derek Carr ain't playing. They say he was gonna miss multiple weeks, but that backup quarterback didn't play bad. He didn't play bad. Baker Mayfield just played out of his mind. And Carlos Goodwin, oh my God, man, this man ate me up. If he wouldn't have scored that 40 burger, I would have won. He scored a 40 burger, and like I say, our league is scoring a little different. I'll probably put it back next year because boy, that knife talk, boy, he's something else. But Denver at New Orleans. I'm gonna think them New Orleans gonna pull it out, man. Let's go with New Orleans on this one. You know, Denver got a good defense. They got a rookie quarterback. I should be going with Denver, but Denver on the road, and I just believe that quarterback can pull out enough points to beat them. All right, Seattle versus Atlanta. I mean, y'all know I'm picking Atlanta, but I got a little story behind this. It's this guy, right? You know, he already, owed me a couple dollars, owed me a little bit money. You know what I'm saying? So he calls me, Seahawks fan. Hey man, I got that what I owe you, but hey, you want to bet on Saturday's game? Bruh, no, I'm not going to bet on that. You give me my money, and then we'll talk about betting, okay? Then we'll talk about betting. You give me my money from the last bet. That's how we're going to handle that. But I'm going to go with Atlanta. Seattle, they not playing horrible. I know they lost Sunday, but I just like Atlanta. That's my team. And I just feel like I'll be jinxing them if I go against them. It's going to be a good game, but I think Kirk Cousins going to pull it out and be doing that little wave or whatever they be doing up there in Atlanta. I went to a game one time, and I think I like the experience watching TV better. I mean, probably because we had bad seats too, man, because we was like way up there. But I mean, you could see the field, but I mean, the Jumbotron looked better. But anyway, we're going to pick Atlanta for that one. All right. New England at Jacksonville. I told y'all last week that they was talking about starting Drake May. And a lot of people impressed with him. You know, they say he looked good, like he a good future quarterback, whatever. But to me, New England just ain't a good team right now, right? Jacksonville, they pretty much already built, and they just can't put it all together. Peterson, it looked like he about on his way out the door again. You know, he do magic when he first get to these teams, but then after that, it's like, what's going on? You know, they did the Eagles. They was able to go to the Super Bowl, win that. 2 years later, he out of there. So I don't know, but you know what? I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's go Jacksonville. Let's go Jacksonville at home. I mean, I'm kind of after I see what Drake may do this week, maybe we can pick New England a little better. But I'm just gonna take Jacksonville this week. Tennessee at Buffalo. You know I gotta go Buffalo, man, cause they done got an upgrade, which I don't know if he gonna play. Amari Cooper done been traded to them. That I remember I said last week, if you watched the show that long, but I said last week that he needed a number one receiver, and Amari Cooper can fit the bill. He's more of a possession receiver. He gonna run his routes like he supposed to, and all this right here. But that's what they needed, and they needed to make sure they take care of business against a team like Tennessee, who was kind of on the ropes now with Will Levis. I think that's his name, Will Levis. It's either Levis or Levis at the quarterback position. Tony Pollard ain't running like he supposed to. What their receiver name is? He come from Atlanta. He used to play for Alabama. Got suspended for gambling. It's amazing. I know all that and can't call the damn man name. That's a shame. But anyway, we're going to go Buffalo. Okay, we got Miami at Indianapolis. I think Tua need to ask for some more money. Because Miami don't even look like they selves, bro. They don't even look like they selves right now. You used to that track meet team. Like I said, they fast. They up and down the field. They going to outspeed you. They not going to out physical. The guy Waddle. He always, they say during practice, he wears the jersey like the quarterback. He wears the weird jersey so nobody can hit him, because he's just a speed guy. You can't really, get too many hits or whatever. So Indianapolis, they might be getting their quarterback back this week, even though Joe Flacco was able to pull it out, So I'm gonna go with Indianapolis. It'll probably be a tough game, because these be little trip-up games. I don't pick the all-home team so far. God, dog, we're going to get somebody on the road. All right. Next up, Detroit at Minnesota. Now, this is going to be a tough game. You got Minnesota 5-0. And I'm thinking Detroit only lost one game. Hold on, let me check the stats. I think they only lost one game. Let me check this right quick. Understand this. We got NFC. We go to overall. That'll get us there. Detroit 4-1. They only lost one game so far this year. Minnesota, they coming off a bye week. So the thing, I think this will prove if Minnesota is the real deal or not. But the question is, can they pull it out? I'm just gonna say right now, let's go with Detroit. Cause I gotta pick somebody on the road, right? Somebody on the road. Detroit gonna show up and show out, even though they pass rush not gonna be what it was with Hutchinson out. He was on the way, looked like to be a defensive player of the year. He was on the way to they did an average about how many sacks he was supposed to get, and they say he was gonna end up with 25. But we're gonna take Detroit on the road. Next up, since they're at Cleveland, they just traded their best receiver. And the thing, a little stat that they were throwing out there, that most of the balls that get thrown to Amari Cooper were uncatchable. So, like I said, I can't keep talking about how bad of a deal that it was for Deshaun Watson, man. I mean, he a shell of himself. But we see players do that. You could be good one place and you go somewhere else and that ain't it. But I'm going to take Cincinnati on the road. Because Cleveland just ain't playing right. Even though you can't trust Cincinnati. You can't trust them. Joe Burrow can't be trusted. No, it ain't the offense. It's the defense. I scratched that. Joe Burrow, he can be trusted to do his job, what he's supposed to do. But you just expect so much more because they always, since Burrow got there, been winning. And they got two of the best receivers in the league, even though they let Mixon go to Houston. And how about I didn't have that at the beginning of the season? If you go back to the first episode of this year, I said Joe Mixon was still in Cincinnati. I don't know what I got going on. Too much. That's what it looked like. But next up, Houston at Green Bay. I don't know, man. Can Houston be some road warriors? Or is Green Bay gonna defend home field? Well, I know how my cousin is. And if I'm wrong, and he gonna call me, and he gonna be talking that smack. He gonna be talking that smack now if his team win, and I didn't pick him. But Green Bay is playing good ball, man. Jordan Love, man. I mean, he looked like he gonna be there for a while. You can't really tell because, like I said, these quarterbacks look great. Their first couple of seasons, then next thing you know, they can't throw a rock in a pond. But we're going to go with Green Bay. It's always hard to play in Lambeau. It's starting to get cold. I'm going to go with Green Bay. Philadelphia at New York. I don't want to give up on Jalen Hurts, man. I really don't. Even though he had a solid game this week, looking at his stat line, he had a solid game. New York, man. I mean, right now they just look like they're in the middle of the pack. Or maybe on the second half of the pack, but not at the bottom, but not in the middle. Whatever you call that, the bottom third or the bottom half. The bottom half. They in the bottom half. So I'm gonna pick Philly to try to string together a couple of wins in a row. Even though they on the road, I'm looking for them to string together a couple of wins. Carolina at Washington. Man, that was a game this week. Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson, they had a good duel, man. They had a good duel, but like I said, it's hard to beat Lamar Jackson now that he got Derrick Henry in that backfield, man. It just, the run game is just too much in Baltimore right now. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't talking about Baltimore. But let's talk about Washington. I hope Michael Penix can play something like, Jaden Daniels when he get his chance to play. I'm gonna enjoy the time we got with Kirk too. And as we can see from the beginning of the season, I mean, you can't pull the ripcord on Kirk after one loss, because then he'll string together 3 in a row. You know what I mean? So, can Carolina upset him? Andy Dalton ain't playing half bad. The Red Rifle, what they call him. He ain't playing half bad. We're gonna go with Washington though. I like Jaden Daniels. Cool, calm in the pocket, run when he have to. All right. Okay, next up we got Las Vegas versus. I'm thinking this the the Rams. Is it two LA teams still? I don't know. Let's see. Is that gonna be the Rams? Is it two teams in LA still? Yeah, I thought it was the Chargers. I'm real old school. It was the San Diego Superchargers, and it was the St. Louis Rams. The St. Louis Rams. We're going down, baby. You remember Marshall Faulk and all them guys? I mean, they're a long way from that. The greatest show on turf, man. If you got a chance to watch that, boy, you seen something special. Kurt Warner come from Arena League and all that stuff there. Real magical. But let's talk. I'm gonna take the Rams. Let's go with the Rams. The Raiders done traded Devontae Adams. Come on, man. That might be better for my fantasy team though, because he going to the Jets. He playing with Aaron Rodgers again, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna put him at 1. I don't see him being the number 2 to Garrett. I don't see that. But anyway, all right, we got another tough one. Kansas City at San Francisco. Kansas City. This is a rematch of the Super Bowl. Kansas City, a fugazi 5-0 if you ask me, because they're not scoring a lot of points. I think it's underrated how their defense is. I think their defense is a little bit underrated, because I think they ain't scored 30 yet. The time that Mahomes did pass for over 300 yards, he didn't have no touchdown. But since it's a toss-up, I'm gonna have to go with this guard or whatever for Kyle Shanahan. So let's go with Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City on the road. I don't want to do they call the San Francisco field. I don't know the name of their field, but I want to. Do anybody remember Candlestick Park? Yeah, I'm that old. I'm so old. I remember when the Falcons was in the AFC West. I'm in the NFC West. What we doing in the NFC West? But anyway, I don't know. We're gonna take Kansas City. New York Jets at Pittsburgh. The thing is, Devontae Adams been on the bench for the last 2 weeks talking about hamstring. Or 3 weeks. It might have been 3. I don't know. I know it's just killing me. He ain't out there. But the Jets taking on Pittsburgh, and they say he available this week. So, I mean, I can understand if you planning on trading a player, you don't want him to get hurt, but y'all don't care about us fantasy managers at all, do you? Y'all don't care about us. New York Jets versus Pittsburgh, and it's Russell Wilson starting. I don't know, man, because me personally, I think Justin Fields is playing good ball, man. He able to get the win. That's the main thing. He being a game manager, he ain't turning the ball over, using his legs a lot. New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers, the last 2 games done throw interceptions to close it out, but he getting his number 1 guy back. In a shocker, I'm gonna pick the Jets, because I watched that game with the Bills. The Jets is not a horrible team. They just can't put it all together. That's what I think. So we're gonna ride with the Jets on the road. Baltimore at Tampa Bay. That gonna be a good one, man. Because you can say what you want, man. Baker Mayfield playing lights out, bro. He playing lights out right now, man. I'm glad we ain't playing him right now, man. I'm glad we don't play him till later on in the season, man. And don't you think the NFL season done got a little, maybe too long? I'm hearing talking about they going to 18 games. They're trying to get all the money. They really need to go into preseason, because them first couple of games, they looked like preseason games. But anyway, what do I know? Baltimore at Tampa Bay. I'm going to ride with the reigning MVP. I'm going to ride with him. Baker Mayfield bad. Now, he living up. You can't say that he was a bust. You can't say that. You can't say when he was a number 1 overall, he was a bust. You can't say that. He playing pretty good. Tampa Bay, I think they 1 game behind us because of the tiebreaker, but hopefully there'll be a whole game behind us after that. All right. I think that's why I asked y'all earlier, was I talking about the Rams or was I talking about the Chargers? Because I got it marked here as the Rams, but it's the Chargers. Okay, the LA Chargers versus Arizona. We just gonna go with the Chargers on the road. I like Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray. Well, I don't know what's missing down there in Arizona. I don't get to see every team play. Like I said, they want too much for Sunday ticket. And usually we in here going back and forth because when Direct TV, was getting it away free for the promotional, we usually watch it. But hopefully I get a chance to see him play sometime this season, and then can probably tell from my point of view what I think's going on down there in Arizona. But as of right now, I can't. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. That's our picks for this week. We 62-30. That's 67%. Oh, you can tell you've been out of school a long time. When it came to getting that what percentage that was, I was like, well, dang. Well, it's out of 62 out of 92 games. That's like 67%. Somewhere along there. I thought it was higher because I'm like 30 games over 500. So I thought that was like 75. Could be 75. Maybe my math off. But I know my basic math is on point. My basic math is on point. Let's see what else we got. That's it, man. That's the end of the show, man. We done cruised into the end. I know I'm getting with y'all a little late, but working day shift this week. My partner's birthday was yesterday, so didn't have a chance to hop in the studio, lay it down right quick, because I'm working 12 hours. Then, got together. Me and him got together, had a few drinks for his birthday or whatever. Happy birthday, Green. Big 43. Happy birthday to you, my dog. But we done made it to the end of the show. I done ran my mind long enough. Y'all know how we end it. Peace and prosperity.